janefinch.com.
On May 1st, 2015, CHRY programmers were locked out of CHRY 105.5. Today we're hosting a town hall meeting where we have former programmers from CHRY as well as the student body from York University. Check out the interviews we have for you. Peace. So I'm with two of the programmers at CHRY. How are you both doing today?
Fine.
What's your name?
Roy Green.
Fantastic, Kevin Padmore.
And what show did you program at CHRY?
Conscious Vibes, Monday morning from 4 a.m. until 7 a.m.
Okay.
But then I cover a million other shows, including Mr. Green's.
And how long have you been at the station for?
About 16, 17 years.
Wow, long time. And yourself?
Yeah, I've been at the station for about 25 years. I started as News Now as an operator. Operator on the show that's called Cutting Edge, and then I have my show at midnight, 10 to midnight. It's called Odyssey, Slow Grooves and R&B. You know?
All right.
Yeah.
This is a long time for the both of you. What are you willing to share about what happened with your show on CHRY?
Like Sankofa was saying, my show is just waiting to be aired. We were told on, what date?
April 30th.
That as of midnight, we were no longer volunteers. Roy has been volunteering much longer than I have, well, for CHRY. But 17 years, I've covered every hour of every day. Since retiring, I have the time, and until about 3-4 years ago, I did 4 shows weekly, 4, in addition to fill-ins. As soon as the fill-in popped up on my email, I was there. You know, so it is tough. It is tough not being able to do that. Yeah. You know, my show starts at 4 a.m. on a Monday morning. When 3 a.m. I'm awake. When 3:30 every Monday morning, I'm in that studio already, just waiting to hear the show because they're such great listeners. You know, I have a really, really good rapport with the listeners to the show. Yeah.
And anything you're willing to share?
Well, if you're going to talk about the time that I've spent, I worked at the TTC, and twice a week I'd leave work early and come up, prepare the news, was one of the operators, and but I even ran a show here called something Jane Finch, what it is, I forget the name now, but it's but anyhow I did that. Then before getting Odyssey, I also did a show on Sunday afternoon. It was called Africa Today, where we did news and current affairs. We were summarily kicked off the air from that because I guess some people felt that we were not addressing the news as they would like to hear it. Our content of African news, they figure, was too BBC oriented. But we've gone through several things with the station myself, and I was at the station at a time when it was exciting to be there. Like I came on the show after channel surfing and hearing CHRY in 1988, and in '89 I became a volunteer, and I did the quality of life in Jane Finch for about 6 months, in addition to news reporting at CHRY. So I had a varied involvement with CHRY. And to answer your question about how does it feel, I feel disenchanted, I feel unappreciated, I feel like somebody kicked me in the stomach. You know, when I think back about this, and to the point where I think what I've done is to put it out of the back of my mind and said, well, look, that's the way it is, and that's that, it happens. But I'm not happy. Mm-hmm. If I want to go back on the air, I don't know. You see, as I said earlier, I don't know if I want to go back on the air. If I'm going to have to function in an environment like this, no.
Okay. Well,
Current environment, no, I won't.
Okay. What would you, okay, so there's a meeting happening right here. What are some of the hopes for the next steps?
Hopes are that things will change. I don't expect the current management to change or to change their stance, but that the situation will change, because there are lots of, all of us are getting numerous calls about what is happening to the station, what is happening to our programs. And it's the community who suffered. I have plenty to do. You know, I'm a certified coach, so I go out there and I coach cricket. So I can be kept busy. However, it's the listeners that I'm missing. I am truly, truly missing them. I have never met the majority of them, but we talk a lot. I call them, they call me, and that's what is missing. You know, they depended on the station. They depended. There are some people who are, I was going to say bedridden, not bedridden, but home-ridden, you know, and they depend on this station for the information. Many would call you and say, well, this happened. Could you, you know, let the rest of the community know? I'm like, how are we going to do that now? You know, that's what.
So you both spoke about very powerful things, the dedication you both have put into the station, and the listeners and what it means for them. What does that mean when a cultural radio station, like you've talked about the programming you had and being questioned of the caliber of the news, what does that mean for a community, in especially Toronto, surrounded by Jane and Finch, losing a community radio station? What does that mean?
Well, I'll look at it from this standpoint, that the community is a kind of a community that has been, in many cases, stigmatized, disenfranchised, and marginalized as a community. And CHRY at one time, and as I said, one time, was more or less the beacon of information, like a lighthouse within this morass of culture that is the Jane Finch community, right? I didn't want to use the word morass, but that's what it is. You find everything and everybody there. And what CHRY did was to advocate in many cases, bring the news, bring culture, try to have a sort of a mix of culture, so, you know, and activism too, because we had to do some activism in this community. I've lived in the community since 1970. So this is my community, and I feel strongly about it, despite all the stereotypes and the labels. This is my community. So when something like this happens, it feels that I've been disenfranchised. I use the word again, from my community. I'm not being given the opportunity to, or someone has in fact taken away from me the opportunity to get other younger people, because we can't think of ourselves only. I'm retired as Kevin is, and the way I've been involved in organizations in the Jane Finch community for years upon years, and we want a way to get the young people in, because the older folks, they're dying, they're getting tired, like myself, and we look at CHRY, and we've had myriads of programs at CHRY that was aimed at getting the young people involved. And I don't think those programs will be there today. There are some people that have dedicated years upon years and using their own funds. I did for years, use my own funds for material, to get material and resources so that I can present a program. What I may be doing, it might not have met with the I don't want to say the standards, let's say the standards of others who may think that, well, as a campus, as a community radio station, we can do more. But the premise that we had of this radio station is that it's for the community, and we were supposed to be given a voice to the voiceless. All right? So that is that's in a nutshell what it is. still there.
Thank you so much.
What I'd like to say, what I think that is missing, and I don't see it returning, I co-hosted a show for children and youth, Tomorrow's People, which was a fantastic program. The station started at about age 8.
He was one of the youngest broadcasters in the Toronto region.
And then there were a number of other, children that came through. CHRY, who came through, she was about 9 or 10 until she went off to university. My granddaughter, who's now 16, started at about age 7, on the program. That was terrific. I don't see that happening, not with the current management. I don't, and it's a pity. It really, really is a pity because, again, you have a stigmatized community. There are problems, and those problems are always magnified. And yet you have these kids who are, an inspiration to other children, in the area. But, that's all gone.
So we're at a town hall meeting about CHRY. What's your connection to CHRY?
I work at OPIRG, and so I have OPIRG has a radio show from 12 to 1 called Propaganda. I've been hosting that for a couple of years now.
And what's OPIRG's take on what's happened recently at CHRY?
I think we've gotten a lot of feedback from our volunteers and from our community partners that they're not very pleased with what happened and how it happened, and the sudden and abrupt end to all programs.
And hi, sis, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good.
And what's your connection to York University CHRY?
So I'm a student at York, and part of our student fees go to contribute towards running and maintaining the station. I'm a huge fan of community radio, and I'm super sad that CHRY is now no longer. So I think community radio provides like a really diverse perspective on everything that's going on in the world, and it's just a compliment to my university education, and I think it's really, really sad that it's being taken away.